everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have our guest Sandy to talk about Reiki and healing touch at LifeSpark. So Sandy, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Can't wait to tell people about LifeSpark.
So can you just tell us what's the most impactful thing that you've heard so far at LifeSpark from the cancer patients that you serve?
Well, we have people that come to us that are just totally stressed. I mean, everyone in our program that receives sessions has cancer, but they're stressed. Of course they are. And they come into our program stressed and they leave after a session totally relaxed. And it's just remarkable. It's really amazing. I love it.
That's incredible. So can you just tell us a little bit more about maybe some of the cancer stories that you've had from survivors and just patients that you've served?
Yeah, there's one story that of Christine. She had ovarian cancer for the third time. She'd been through it before. She wasn't sure she wanted to continue. She thought maybe God was calling her home. And she started LifeSpark sessions, and she had this one session where the next morning when she woke up, it was like something was different, and she realized that she wanted to live. And this was like a huge turning point for her. It was a catalyst. She started taking better care of herself, eating better, getting the support she needed. And she did live for many years after that. So that's just one of the many stories that we have in LifeSpark about people who just find that our program is so helpful for them to get through this really challenging time.
All right. So Sandy, that's incredible. And I'm so glad that you shared that story. And I can't wait to hear a few more of the patient stories that I'm sure we'll get to touch on later on. Can you just, let's kind of start at the beginning. Can you define what is Reiki and healing touch? Why do people pursue this as a form of stress management and healing?
So Reiki and healing touch, those are the two modalities that we use in LifeSpark, have a lot in common. Normally they're both done hands-on, although after the pandemic, we've been doing a lot of remote sessions, but they're gentle wellness therapies. They help with stress, depression, pain. They help a person feel better, like it helps with nausea, helps people sleep better. They just feel better, they're more relaxed. And they also help with what's called homeostasis or balance. Nurses have told us, the nurses who practice these therapies, Reiki and healing touch, have told us that, for example, a patient, if they have high blood pressure, they will find that the Reiki or the healing touch will lower their blood pressure. If they have low blood pressure, it'll raise it. Same thing for like all of those vital signs, like if it's their blood sugar or if it's their respiration or, all those things, whatever it is that's out of balance, it sort of brings it back into balance. And so that's basically how these therapies work. They just bring the body back into a place where it knows what to do and knows how to be in balance and heal itself.
That's incredible. So when we talked before, you mentioned a little bit of a study that was done at, I think it was Truth's Cancer Center. Do you want to tell us a little about that study?
Yes, absolutely. It was actually done at Anschutz Cancer Center, which is part of UC Health, the University of Hospital. And they actually put together this study for us because we offer sessions in their cancer center. And so they had 35 patients that received a survey before their session and immediately after a 20-minute session. And the results showed people reported that their pain dropped by on average a third, and their stress and anxiety dropped on average by 2/3. And so, of course, this is all without any drugs or medications. This is one of the cool things about our therapies is that they're so helpful. And, without having to take, that doesn't mean you don't need drugs. You may need drugs, but these are non-drug options.
That's so incredible. So I know that Megan and I, my co-hosts, we are so excited to talk about this with you because both of us are personally invested in Reiki. And so Megan, do you want to tell us a little bit about your personal journey with Reiki?
Yeah, absolutely. I got started with it because my sister was telling me the amazing experience that she had. And so I have a friend who actually has been doing Reiki since she was 11, like practicing it since she was 11. And so I started working with her, and then I ended up taking my level 1 to learn how to do it. And so I can do it to myself. And it's, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. You feel, relaxed and just better, calmer, more centered, more balanced. Like I love it, and I can't really quite describe why.
I think that's such a valid thing though. And when I've tried to explain Reiki, and I also do sound healing at my Reiki sessions, which is kind of a little bit of a twist. So a sound bath, basically just like, introducing those bowls and that full body vibration in addition to the Reiki and the healing touch. But I think one of the coolest things for me is that I have noticed I'm super sensitive to how my body feels when I am emotional, right? So when I'm anxious, I get a stomach ache. And I have learned through doing Reiki, through doing lots of therapy over the lots of years, that I am a sensitive person to like kind of my gastrointestinal system seems to go a little bit psycho when I'm emotional. So when my emotions are really stressed, or when I'm anxious about, for example, scans coming up, my stomach starts to hurt, and it's a very local spot. But one of the other things that I've loved about my Reiki sessions with the local gal that I go and see is that I, similar to you, I can go into this, and sometimes I haven't even told her what's been going on, and she will ask me questions, and she'll be like, hey, so, this area of your body is talking, like this is kind of the energy we're feeling from you. What's going on? And then I'll tell her, and she's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And so it's just been this kind of way for me to get in tune personally with how my body is feeling. But also what I've loved with the sound healing aspect of it, of adding that in, is that I feel like I can feel kind of my feelings. I feel the physical manifestation of my feelings in my body, and I can feel it move when I do the sound healing. And so it's such a unique experience, and it literally just, it is energizing. And also I feel like helps me a lot with just handling the emotions of a cancer diagnosis that I get to deal with on a personal level.
I think that's great. And the things that you experienced are very typical. Lots of people will feel heat or tingling or movement in their bodies. And then of course, some people don't feel anything, but that doesn't mean it hasn't been effective. Sometimes, I've been practicing these therapies for many, many years. And sometimes I've had sessions where I didn't really feel anything at the time, but later I noticed, oh my gosh, I am so much calmer. I feel so much better, or my headache is gone. So it varies from person to person, but I think you really, your experience is pretty typical.
Well, and sometimes I think also there's this emotional release, right? Sometimes you can have like days later, I just remember a recent session where I went in and I had kind of an emotional thing happen with a fellow cancer patient and just a friend. And I went in feeling kind of heavy and weighed down by that, left feeling so much better, energized. And then the next day I was just crying all day long. And it took me a couple minutes to realize like, oh, this is that emotional release that I released everything yesterday. And so it was a good awareness moment.
Well, and sometimes that happens in a session. Not terribly often, but it can. Someone will just have a release right there while they're receiving the session, and that's great. We always say, hey, those are just, tears of release. Those are great. Yeah.
Yeah. I joke, I cry a lot, but I am so productive. Taylor Swift, right? It's great. Megan, do you want to take over here and chat with our audience about LifeSpark?
Yeah, absolutely. Sandy, can you tell us more about LifeSpark? When did it start and how did it come about?
So LifeSpark's been around for 19 years. I can hardly believe it. Anyway, yeah, we started with a group of us that were practicing Reiki, and then we added healing touch. No, actually we started with healing touch and we added Reiki because those are the two modalities we have the most right here in the Denver market. We started in, Denver up along the Front Range, all the way up to Loveland, and now we're Fort Collins a little bit, down to Colorado Springs. And we did this for many, many years. And then, of course, COVID happened. And these were all hands-on sessions. These were all, where you go in, you lie down on a massage table, someone places their hands on your body, moves their hands down your body or up your body, whichever modality it is. And, you just relax, you're laying there, it's great. But during the COVID, of course, we had to change because, we couldn't do the hands-on sessions anymore to keep everybody safe. And so we started doing remote sessions. And of course, as I mentioned, I've been practicing Reiki for 35 years and healing touch for 25 years. And during that time, I have always done remote sessions. It's just something that we learn when we learn these therapies, but we never used them in LifeSpark because they're kind of hard to explain. I didn't know if people would be willing to try them, but we had no choice. So we switched, and we found out that people actually really liked them. They got great results from them. And so now we have both. We have a remote program and we have an in-person program, and it's fantastic to have both. But I also wanted to say that we have three different things that we do in LifeSpark. Well, I mean, we do the same thing, Reiki and Healing Touch, but 3 different programs. The first one, of course, is our in-person, hands-on program. And this is for 8 weeks, for 4 to 8 weeks, where we give people a session every week. You're matched with one person, the same person every week. You show up and it's 8 weeks. And sometimes it's longer than that if people have, like stage 4 cancer or something. But then we also, and the second program is the remote program that I just told you about. But the third program is our hospital program. We work out of 5 hospitals up and down the Front Range.
That's amazing.
That is so awesome.
You're helping so many people. So what if somebody wants to be a provider? Are you looking for providers?
We are definitely looking for providers. What's happened is as the word has gotten out and people have learned about us, we've actually developed some waiting lists, especially for our in-person sessions. Yeah, we are, but we need providers even if they're not local. So yes, to become a LifeSpark provider, you need to be trained in Reiki and or Healing Touch. You need to have taken 2 levels of training. So Reiki 2nd degree or Healing Touch level 2. And you need to have done 50 sessions, so you've practiced them and you know them and you're familiar. And then we have an 18-hour training program that you go through. And then you become a volunteer in LifeSpark, and you can begin working with the amazing cancer patients that we work with in our program. Yeah, we have at any given time, we probably have at least 50 people that are giving sessions in our program. So we have a lot of providers. And it's a great community. It's fun and it's great, and it's a really cool community to belong to.
All right, so Sandy, I'm so excited to hear from some of the patients themselves that you have testimonials from. So do you want to go ahead and just read us 2 or 3 of the patients' words?
Sure, I'd love to. Okay, so this one is from Jamie. She's a breast cancer survivor. It was such a wonderful feeling to feel my nervous system deeply relaxed during the sessions and after. Like truly profoundly relax. What a gift it is with all of the stress of the cancer diagnosis. Thank you for offering this important service to our community. And then I've got another one. This is from Robin, who has metastatic cancer. This program initially lifted me out of depression and despair. As I have continued, it has been instrumental in helping with my stress and anxiety and my pain as well. And then this third one is from Herbert, who has advanced sarcoma. If I don't get my LifeSpark treatment every week, I can tell. My spirit needs it, my body needs it, my mind needs it. Reiki has given me the will to stay here, fight my disease, and live.
So beautiful. Oh, Megan, you were telling me about this breast cancer survivor that you know who has also done Reiki. So do you want to just tell us a little about that story as well?
Yeah, one of my good friends, she had a double mastectomy and a reconstructive surgery all in one surgery. And so you can imagine she was in quite a lot of pain. And another friend of mine who did the Reiki level 1 class with me, we went over to her house and we did Reiki with her, and we were able to bring her pain level down to a 0. And we're just 2 little level 1s. We're brand new at this, and we were still able to get her down to a 0. And we did it a couple times. We did it remote actually, which was kind of interesting to see if we could do it. And she said it did work. So that was really very cool. But one thing that was really interesting to me was one day that we did it, we had gotten her pain level down to a 0, and her daughter came in and was upset about something. And she said as soon as the stress hit her, all of the pain came flooding back. So I just thought that was really interesting how you're
unique.
So her daughter probably needed a session too.
Yes, I think so.
So we do distance Reiki for the children, right? Let's do distance Reiki on the children, please. On the caregivers as well. Oh my goodness. So this is so good. And I feel like there's going to be lots of questions that come in. So let's just kind of cover some of maybe the commonly asked questions around LifeSpark, Reiki, and Healing Touch. So one thing that came to mind for me is that if we were going to try and explain this really succinctly to someone, like it is touch, like you mentioned Healing Touch. And I know that some people might be a little uncomfortable with like somebody touching them. So in a Reiki or a Healing Touch session, is physically touching the person always necessary, or like is it always a part of an in-person session? How does that work?
So, I mean, that's a great question. Yes, yes and no, and it's kind of up to the person. I mean, you don't have to have touch because obviously it works remotely. So, if you're sensitive to touch, or if you have a lot of pain, like for example, if you have a port and you know it's painful there or something, we don't have to touch that area. Or lots of times we will, we'll sandwich an area, or put our hands above and below. We do that a lot with breast cancer. Or if you have a surgery site, same thing. We can do hands off or hands on. In LifeSpark, we really prefer to do hands on if it's an in-person session, just because we find that so many people don't get a lot of touch. They get medical touch, which is fine. That's nothing wrong with that, but they don't necessarily get a lot of compassionate, what I would call loving touch. So we really prefer to do hands on if we're in the same room with the person.
I think that's such a beautiful way to illustrate that. All right, so Megan, I'm going to let you take the next question.
All right, so the next question I have is, if I wanted to try LifeSpark, how long would I have to wait?
So it depends. It depends on where you live and if you want in-person or remote sessions. So if you're looking for remote sessions, we usually match people within 2 to 3 weeks. We don't really have much of a wait list there. It takes some time to get things set up and so forth. If you live in an area with a really high demand, like right now in the Denver area, oh my gosh, it's many, many months. I'm almost kind of embarrassed to say it, but it's true, because we're working so hard to get that waiting list down. But if, for example, if you're in Loveland, there's no waiting list. So it just depends on the area that you live and what you're looking for. It could be anything from a few weeks to many months.
So if LifeSpark has a long wait and I want to get in with a local Reiki provider in my area, how would I find one?
So, okay, there's lots of ways. First of all, there's a couple of websites, Healing Beyond Borders and Healing Touch Program. Those are two websites that both list practitioners that practice healing touch. I think they only list certified practitioners, but they have them all over the country, so you can find somebody no matter where you live. And of course, you can also do remote sessions. For Reiki, it's not as generalized. There's Reiki.org. That's one website, but there are lots of people that have their own individual websites. So you could just search on the internet for Reiki or Healing Touch. And then, of course, I suggest that if you find someone, you do look for their website and see what they say and see if it feels right. See if they're making extravagant promises or if they're being pretty realistic about what to expect, and just, does it feel right to you? Does it feel like you have a connection with them? Just use your instincts, your gut instincts about who's the right practitioner to be matched with.
Definitely. That makes so much sense. And you'll know right away if the energy fits or if it doesn't fit. You'll be able to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, trust your instincts. Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really unique too. Like, I know in my experience, and I'm sure this has been a little bit of Megan's experience too, that when you start looking for this kind of thing, it's almost kind of like the energy. I feel like the energy of the universe just kind of delivers. And so, like, when I started searching specifically for a Reiki sound healer, like a Reiki provider plus sound healer, it was like connection after connection after connection was able to point me in the right direction and link me up with the gal that I've been working with for over a year. So it's just amazing how the universe can deliver when you start looking and you're just aware of what you're looking for.
Absolutely. That's great. Yeah.
So Megan, what if they want to be like you? What if they want to do Reiki to themselves instead of going to see a provider? How do you become a level 1 provider? And Sandy, Megan, I think both of you could probably answer this.
I'll let Sandy take it.
Yeah, well. So I think it's fantastic if people can learn Reiki or Healing Touch for themselves. I give myself energy work all the time. It's such an easy way to just keep myself calm and balanced and healthy. And it's not hard to learn. You have to take classes and you have to practice and use it. But why not learn it for yourself? Because then you have your hands that are just free. You can use it anytime you want. And then you can also still get sessions from other people. I know lots of people that do that. They learn it for themselves, but they also they receive LifeSpark sessions or they go to somebody else. It's great. Highly recommend it.
So incredible.
Definitely.
So incredible. On my to-do list.
Yeah. One of my friends who took level 1, the one that I mentioned before, she actually does it on her dogs, and it calms her dogs down, and they love it. So you can even use it on your pets.
You can also use it on your plants, although I never get around to doing that. Unfortunately, my plants.
Well, I have a plant in desperate need. Good to know. All right. So, Sandy, what is the process if somebody is looking to try LifeSpark resources? What's the process for if they want to go and try this?
So just go to our website and look under I think it's Get Involved, and there's a place to become a LifeSpark provider. And it just walks you through all the steps. You fill out an enrollment form. I will call you and talk to you, which is one of my favorite things to do. I love talking to providers or prospective providers. And then you participate in one of our trainings. We have a training coming up. There's one in July. There's one in November. We do like 3 or 4 a year, sometimes 3 a year. Sometimes they fill up, so you want to get on the list early. There is a cost for that, but most of that cost is refunded after you've delivered 12 sessions in LifeSpark. So that's it. I mean, it's not hard. It's you just have to go through the steps, and it's all on our website, www.lifesparknow.org, lifesparknow.org.
Okay, so if I am a patient and I want to sign up for a LifeSpark session with a provider who does Reiki and Healing Touch, how would I do that?
So you just go to our website. It's pretty easy. It's right there. It's, sign up for sessions, and you just fill out the form. It's pretty short. And then within a few days, usually, our program director will call you and just get a little bit more information, and then we'll get you in the queue and get you set up to receive sessions. It's pretty easy.
What can I expect? Like if I go to, say, a live session or a virtual session, what are some of the things that I should expect as far as sensations, feelings, kind of how I might go into this feeling versus when I come out?
So if you come to a LifeSpark session, if it's an in-person session, you'll go to a location. All of our locations are places that people donate space to us. We are in churches, we are in spas, we are in massage studios, chiropractor offices. You'll show up, the practitioner or the provider will do a short intake interview with you to learn more about, what your needs are and where you're at in your cancer journey. And then you'll lie on a massage table, fully clothed, and the practitioner will gently place their hands on various places in your body. It usually takes not quite an hour, about an hour. And then when you're done, they'll just say, hey, we're done, and you'll get up and they'll check in with you to see how you're doing, and then you're done until the next session. If it's a remote session, you will do it. You will sign up. The practitioner will contact you. You will connect by Zoom so that you can see each other, so you can make the connection. Again, they will do a short intake interview with you to kind of find out what your needs are, where you're at in your cancer journey. And then they'll ask you to go and lie down and take your computer or your phone with you, because we play guided imagery during the sessions. And that's because first of all, guided imagery is fantastic if you're not familiar with it. It's just like someone walking you through some guided images that you follow, but it gives you something positive to focus on and is really helpful. So you focus on that while the practitioner, the provider, the LifeSpark Reiki or Healing Touch provider, then does a full remote Reiki or Healing Touch session for you. And then when you're done, they will check back in and say, hey, we're done with our session. How are you doing? And they'll check in, and then you're done until the next session.
I think that's so beautifully stated. So, Megan, I'm just going to put you on the spot here, and I am just curious if you were just maybe to, give someone an advertisement for why do Reiki? What's your biggest reason personally why someone should participate in a Reiki healing session or healing touch?
Oh, that is putting me on the spot. I would say, why not? Why not? What do you have to lose? You've heard some good stories today about how it does work. Personally, I feel it. I feel tingles. So I knew instantly it was working because I could feel it. And then I felt all the benefits later. So I think the biggest thing I would say is just try it. And it can't do anything negative. There's no harm that can come from it. You have nothing to lose. And even if you don't feel the tingles and stuff, just be aware of your body and kind of see how you feel the next day or two, because not everyone does feel it. But for me, I think it was such an instant connection because I could feel it, that I knew it was working. And so now when I do it, I if I'm talking about Reiki, my palms will start to tingle now because I've just become accustomed to that. But yeah, I mean, you sleep better, you're calmer, you feel centered. There's just a lot more of a peaceful feeling, and there's no negative side effects that can come from it. So why not try it? That's what I would say. Why not?
Yeah, I love that. Go ahead, Sandy.
And I would say that it's a fantastic way to help you feel better without drugs. And not, again, sometimes we need drugs, but this is a wellness therapy that can help you with stress, depression, pain, and you don't have the side effects of drugs. So it's fantastic because it supports your whole body, brings you back into balance, helps you feel better, and it's totally natural.
Like Sandy said earlier, you can head to the resource. You can follow their website at www.lifesparknow.org. And again, we'll link that in the show notes. And if you guys haven't, been convinced already to just give this a shot or find a local provider in your area, learn to do this for yourself. This is such a unique way to, I think, like you said, to just have that whole body wellness without the negative side effects that can come with medicines and things like that. So what do we have to lose, right? Sandy, is there anything you want to end with before we close out?
Well, I'm just so grateful that you reached out to offer this opportunity for us to talk about LifeSpark on your show. I mean, I think that so many people benefit from what we do, and we just, want to be able to extend the benefits to as many people as we can. It's great.
It is absolutely wonderful. Sandy, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in, subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you want a little bit more info about our upcoming events, or if you want to link up with other podcast episodes, head to our website so you can stay in the know and hit the join the newsletter button at the very top of the website. That's where we're going to have podcast releases, news, and just lots of other opportunities for you to participate with the OMI community. So thanks for being here. We'll see you guys next time.